It's difficult to express the pain I'm going through, but because of my passion that turns to compassion in this work, sometimes I forget about myself. Most of the time I forget about myself because this work is above my pain.
The purpose of 71 is basically to fill that gap, right? To give them that training so that they can then learn how to be independent, and then they can then learn some basic employment skill. And not only that, our higher goal will be to transform this group of people into entrepreneurs.
The government announced MCO and they're shutting down schools. They immediately promote online learning platform. But none of that is actually an option for our kids in pedalaman. We don't have internet coverage. Most of the parents couldn't afford devices, and the only person who is allowed to go in and out is the person who is in charge to bring the food supply. If they can deliver food there, I can actually do the same thing with education. In the beginning of the second phase of the MCO, we start our first homework COD.
The aim of our workshop is to firstly make them comfortable with their digital devices. Our primary concern is to help them to elevate their technophobia. We want them to be less afraid of their digital devices. Surprisingly, they are very interested in learning the creative modules because they felt that they can connect to the younger generation to these creative activities.
Malaysia is such a precious, amazing place, and if we want to keep it this way, we have to protect it. I mean, we really need to be starting to think, okay, how can we change our behaviours as humans? A little bit, not much. It doesn't have to be much. It's simple stuff. It's not like become eco warriors. It's just try and do a little bit. Everyone has to do a little bit, and then you increase that over time.
We are actually a group of young doctors. We are responding for the 7th month to the COVID-19 crisis in our country. Charity can be quite addictive. We always need or want to do something whenever problem or crisis strikes. During the MCO, when everybody is locked down, I've seen volunteers that are forced to stay home. They come to me and said, I want to volunteer. We can't do a lot of things like doctors. At least I can send the PPE to the hospital.
So why dusky langurs? First, they are understudied, and second, they are endangered species, and third, there are many people having a very bad perspective towards primates in Malaysia. So I decided to transform or develop Langur Project Penang into a citizen science-based community project. And so what we do is basically collect data, and we utilize all this data and make it into conservation planning as well as environmental education.
There's so many projects that all focus on the talking part, but very little action. So what we do here is we make sure that the volunteers who come pick up a skill, or they learn something about river conservation beyond, or don't pollute the river. Why rivers got polluted? Because we got divorced from the river as our lifeline. We still need it, we just don't see it. So the idea is to bring people back, to marry them. It is a psychological thing. A clean, nice, inviting trail brings people to the rivers.
You know, when I was young, I never thought that this is something that will influence me. My ambition is never to be a social worker. I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a businessman. But when I grew up, only I knew that there is something special, there is something connection with the human being, especially to the poor, the needy.
Pada hakikatnya saya bukan mula SDG ini selepas perkataan itu tema itu keluar. Semasa saya berkhidmat sebagai guru sementara tahun 83, saya dah amalkan beberapa goal. Sebagai seorang guru besar, pemimpin sekolah, saya boleh memperkenalkan apa juga yang tidak bercanggah dengan falsafah pendidikan kebangsaan. So kalau kita mengajar, murid itu kena perubahan tingkah laku mesti ada. Kalau tiada perubahan tingkah laku, itu pendidikan tidak berlaku.